Hi everyone, welcome to John's Safe Queens. I've just been pulling guns out of the safe that I don't think anybody's probably seen on either of the channels. That's just me kind of going through and seeing, showing you kind of some behind the scenes what's in my safe. Today, one that I bet you some people are gonna be a little bit surprised by, a big monster, big monster, Taurus, N-frame 44 Magnum. BakerTargets.com is where I get the targets you see me shoot all the time on Active Self-Protection Extra. They ship fast, their prices are great, and they have all kinds of targets, both for competitive shooting, defensive shooting, and fun too. Check them out. Now, as you can see, gun's empty, okay? So we made sure of that all these times. I'm still gonna be a little cautious with it and not flip it, but this is a big honking gun, man. This is a massive, N-framed, heavy as all get out, Taurus 44 Magnum. It also has the ported barrel on the end of it. And I have shot everything from real light kitten 44 special loads up to big old 300 grain barrel loads for this guy. And you know, an interesting gun. Why did I buy this gun? Because a friend was selling it. And also Harry Callahan. I mean, let's be honest. Why would you own a 44 Magnum except for it's the most powerful handgun cartridge ever invented? You gotta ask yourself, did I shoot 5 shots or 6? And all the commotion, I've kind of forgotten. Well, do you feel lucky, punk? Do you? I mean, you gotta kind of say those things, right? I just had a friend at church who was wanting to get rid of this gun, probably because he had it for a while and didn't have any use for it either. It's heavy, it's monstrous. You know, you've got this big vented ribbed barrel on it. And when was this gun made? What was it exactly called? I don't know. I gotta be honest with you. I sat on the phone with customer service at Taurus waiting for them for about 45 minutes today so that I could run, you know, give them the serial number and see if they could give me like, you know, year of manufacture, whatever. And I couldn't get anybody to pick the phone up. They said, oh, use our chat feature. There was no chat feature on their website anymore. And I couldn't get anybody at customer service to pick the phone up. So boo Taurus on that. I guess I could run some back channels. I mean, again, MagTech is one of our sponsors. They're owned by CBC. CBC also owns Taurus. I could, you know, go over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house. I didn't think it was that big a deal and that you would care that much. I bought it private party from a friend. I think I paid him $250 for it. I think that's what I paid him for it. But I will tell you, I have been critical of Taurus firearms, mainly their semi-automatic pistols because they aren't very reliable. We find people have problems with them in classes when we teach handgun classes. But this revolver actually has been quite reliable and good. It times well, it locks up tight, so you can see it's got a little play here, but it locks up reliably well. I will say, again, the double action trigger on this, so if you watch, it is linear, it is good. It is light too. It's probably, I'm gonna guess it's 9 pounds and it really good. If I go to the single action trigger, single action has just the tiniest bit of pre-travel movement. Can't be more than 4.5 pounds. I would say less than that, maybe 4. And this gun has a beautiful trigger and it fires reliably. It locks up well. I don't get any problems with you know, any kind of wrong ignition on it or the cylinder not correct. And so then you get bullets slicing down it or any of that stuff. And also because of the porting on this gun is actually reasonable to shoot. I mean, it's still a 44 Magnum, right? So it's got these stocks on it. You can see it's got these big, they're made by Taurus, right? So they've got the Taurus logo on them. So they were made by them, but they're big kind of squishy stocks. They got a little bit of squish to them. I know people are gonna call these grips. Technically speaking, on a revolver, they should be known as stocks. I'm not gonna be a big deal on that. But because it's got kind of, you know, really good squishy kind of stocks, it's with the ports in it, it's relatively manageable. I don't think I'll be able to find it, but I actually have video of my son when he was 12 years old. He's 25 now, but he was 12 years old at the time, shooting a whole wheel, 6 full 300 grain bear loads through this monster without any problems. Like he shot the first one and he was like, oh, piece of cake. And then boom, 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 boom. And that kid, he was a little guy at 12 years old. He went through puberty at about 13. So this was before that. And so it's a very shootable gun. And why did I buy it? Again, a buddy was selling it, and also I would use this because it was so heavy. My pop, my adopted dad, Norm McMahon, he hand loaded a whole kind of bunch, maybe 150, 44 specials for me, and kind of half loaded them, like cream puff 44s. That it's still 44 special, but very soft shooting 44 specials, light powder charge. So I could put a new shooter when I'm teaching a brand new shooter on something like this, because it's so heavy, and we could cock the action. I've got a very short 3.5, 4 pound trigger. And with the ports and all that stuff, this gun recoils very mild. And so we could get a shooter used to more than 22 recoil without it hurting them. And that was a very helpful thing. I haven't taught a whole bunch of new shooters in a while, but it was a very helpful thing for that. And it's been super reliable through that. I mean, it's probably got, I don't know. I mean, I cleaned it pretty regularly. Every time I would shoot it, I would clean it through, make sure that it, wasn't having any problems or any of those things. But I've probably put 400 or 500 rounds through this. And I know somebody's going to go, but John, you said in your revolver post versus semi-autos that revolvers malfunction. And they tend to, they tend to have more challenges than semi-autos. But they do tolerate neglect well. They just don't tolerate abuse well. So I've kept up with this guy in terms of lubrication and maintenance and those things. And it's done well. It's got, an adjustable rear sight here. You can play with a little bit, and gun hits to point of aim, always has. I never had to adjust it. Loads reliably, feeds reliably. Trigger on it is really nice. I mean, really nice. No stack, no problems with it. I dig this gun. And so it sits in the safe unused. I mean, I don't have a holster for this gun. This would be one that would sit on, on the table at the gun range for new shooters to try. I suppose, I could get one of those big old, chest rigs or something like that, carry this out in the woods hunting, hunting stuff. So if I ran across a bear or something, I'd rather have a 10 mil personally for that kind of thing. But, this is pretty cool. And also the, the Dirty Harry, the Harry Callahan thing, right? You got to feel lucky, punk, do you? And so this is another one of those weird guns in my safe. It's a fun one. Would I sell this gun? I guess I would. I'm not looking to. I have no reason to. But it's kind of a fun gun. And when you're on camera, especially, man, you see that barrel. It's like a portal to another dimension. It's like a portal to Narnia there. So, you're looking down that, it brings up those Dirty Harry vibes. So this is a pretty cool gun. I enjoy it, and it sits in the safe. And thankfully, my wife doesn't look at it and go, why don't you turn that into money? Because if she said that, I might have to, but thankfully I don't. Hope you have a great day.